Starting over at 50 is more common than you think. You may be 50, you may be close to your 50s, you may be in your mid 50s. It's actually more common than you think starting over. And the way I realized this was, and you may be in the same boat, maybe this starting over wasn't your decision. Maybe this was part of layoffs. We're seeing a lot of layoffs, large company percentages in some cases, big layoffs in tech, which I'm a part of. I can't even speak right. But yeah, it's more common than you think. And I didn't really think about this or notice this until I was just part of this career transition program. And within that, I noticed that a lot of the participants in there were 50 plus. It was really surprising, I guess surprising to me, because many people in the group were, I'm 54 at this point, recording this video, but many people were in their mid 50s. And I know for most, of course, it's challenging because in some cases people were in their current profession for 20 years. I was 18 at that past company and a couple years on my own before that, kind of dabbling and learning digital marketing and those kind of things. So in that 20-year mark as well. And in all of those cases, it wasn't their decision. It was unfortunately just the current business climate. And all of us in there, for the most part, it seemed as though we're in our 50s, early 50s, mid 50s. And I don't know why that so resonated. Maybe me being in my 50s and seeing that, wow, everybody in here is very similar to myself, going through the same challenges, maybe some of the same thoughts, looking back on career and looking forward. But it's more common than you think. Now, sometimes we look at that, I don't know if we look at that as failure or not. I would hope that people don't. I hope that you don't look at it that way, because there's just a lot of things change in business, and it's beyond one's control. All we can control is what decisions we make moving forward. Now, one of the things that really resonated with me, and this is on a larger coaching call, was whatever decision you make now doesn't have to be your decision forever. I think that's how a lot of decisions work. And that's why maybe we're reluctant to make a decision and we stay in that information gathering phase, because we feel as though us, all of us have to get that one decision right. Otherwise, everything is going to be off the rails. Or we know, especially in our 50s, this may not be the first time going down this path with layoffs and things of that, or just companies merging and acquisitions, all these different things that happen. So maybe it's a little bit more, I don't want to say easier, but not uncommon, not unfamiliar, but we can always course correct in the future. And hearing somebody say that, hey, you can make this decision moving forward now and change that decision later. And sometimes we forget about that. But I think that will get us on our next new path much faster, rather than staying stuck in this information gathering phase. Now, there is value in that, because sometimes it's discovering what you don't want more so than what it is you do want to do in the future. And just thinking back on my own personal case, 9 years in Google Ads and paid search, another 9 years in SEO, more so on the technical SEO side, large e-commerce sites, loving all of that, but also loving other things too. Email marketing, social media, YouTube, creating videos, editing, all those different things. And also the AI is such a huge piece of all those different marketing channels. So that's something in my mind, it's like, man, I still love what I do, love the SEO, love the technical side of it, love the content creation side of it, love the AI side of it. So I'm staying abreast on all of those things. And then incorporating YouTube and learning how to optimize YouTube, how to build a YouTube channel, all those different elements, editing, and just taking it one step at a time, but not completely letting go of all those things I did in the past so that I'm still current. There's so much amazing content on YouTube about AI. And as you already know, and we've probably discussed before, it's so important to be hands-on on all of this to learn it. There's so much more you can learn by being hands-on. And in the future, I'll share just some learnings. I think I've got at least in the past, maybe less than 60 days, a good 20 significant YouTube channel learnings that I'll share. But if you are in your 50s, just keep that in mind, that it's not a failure. Of course, it may be something you haven't planned, but sometimes it's the universe putting you on the path that makes most sense for you. You know, one of the things that I've looked at, and you talk about with Tony Robbins and things about that, reframing different events in our life, how we interpret that is going to determine how we move forward with that. For me, it was more looking at this as an opportunity. You know, especially in the SEO space, or if you're in the digital marketing space, one of the things in those big e-commerce business models, there are so many layers to that. There's just budget constraints, there's resource constraints, there's just a lot of constraints in that. So what I found is, let's say for using AI or SEO, various AI aspects to optimizing for that, now is the time to implement this on my own projects. There's no need to have meetings and discussions and conversations and prioritizations and roadmaps and calls defining all these projects. Being that solopreneur, you can decide all that the moment you wake up in the morning and start implementing the same day. So there's a lot of value I see in that, and a lot more in my mind expediting that whole learning curve and learning much faster at a faster rate. The other thing too, in general, at 50, you're starting off with so much more data than somebody early in their 20s. And it's tough to see those videos of those layoff videos of somebody early in their 20s, because this may be their first job. And that's got to be such a, I think maybe even to use devastating, because you haven't experienced it before. But somebody in their 50s, most likely you might have experienced this in the past. Not that it makes it any less significant. Some cases you may argue maybe even more significant with the amount of financial responsibility somebody has later in their 50s than they do in their 20s. And we still have more data and, I would say, more wisdom to carry with us in those decisions that we're moving forward with. So that's the way that I'm looking at things personally. Hopefully you're looking at it the same way too. And then just understanding that it's not a failure. In most cases, it's something that no matter what you did or didn't do, wouldn't have changed that outcome. It's just the way that path led, and now there's a crossroads. But rather than just seeing maybe two paths, you almost have infinite paths. And I always love adding that AI layer, because now you're not on your own doing this. That's the way I feel. Having the access to AI tools and bounce ideas off of, or something that you're stuck with, you can ask. Where in the past, if you're a solopreneur or you're somebody looking to get into your next career corporate opportunity, you have AI as your consultant to help you guide you along the way. So you're not alone in this, plus you're not alone with all the YouTube content as well. So appreciate you stopping by this video. Keep that in mind. You are not made a failure. You're not behind in life. This is just a transition that came your way, and you have the opportunity to look at it as an opportunity and then move forward and put some thought into that too, as to what are the things that you really enjoy, you're passionate about, things that you want to learn, and gravitate towards that path. So that's my recommendation day. Today, have an amazing day. We'll talk soon. Again, enjoy you being here. Look forward to our next contact and touch base. Have an amazing day. Thanks. Take care.